So instead of my usual freaking out and trying to shoot them all until they die, we're going to be doing an explanation video on all of the Apex variants. So all of those big and annoying ones. So without further ado, before these reach us, let's get into it. Alright, so starting off the Apex variants, we have the Crushers, the First Blood. Crushers are swollen with autophage, reinforced muscle fibers. Their overhead smash sends a seismic shockwave through the ground. Jump over it to avoid getting knocked silly. Under the skin. A Crusher resists explosive and is weak to bleed damage. Its arms and head are most vulnerable, but its legs are very tough. Slice to the bone. Maim a Crusher's arms to prevent flail and overhead smash attacks and harvest some fun zombie parts. Crushers are exposed after their overhead smash and kick attacks. Exposed zombies take more stability damage. Alright, so now we move to Inferno Crushers, First Blood. The Inferno Crusher can channel high voltage plasma during combat, which causes fire damage. Repeated hits from this monster could ignite you. Under the skin. You can extinguish an Inferno Crusher's flames with water or chem bombs, but be warned, it's only temporary. Slice to the bone. Inferno Crushers are immune to fire and resist explosive damage. They are weak to bleed damage. Deep in the guts. Inferno Crushers become very aggressive when they feel targeted. If you briefly back off, it may calm down a little. So now we move to Bursters. First Blood. Bursters are bloated with volatile gas and infections, black ichor, that spreads the zombie plague. Good thing you're immune. So expect a big explosion if they get close to you. Under the skin. Bursters are weak to shock and projectile damage. Drain their stability to cause them to fall over and explode. Slice to the bone. Bursters' explosions will damage nearby zombies as well as humans, so use them to your advantage. Deep in the guts. Be careful. A burster's explosion can be tainted by damage effects. Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. We move to Slobbers, First Blood. Slobbers are disgustingly swollen with poison, bile, that they puke all over their victims. Under the skin. Slobbers resist blunt and projectile damage. They are immune to poison damage, but weak to sharp shock and bleed damage. Slice to the bone. Get close to a slobber as fast as possible. Stop it from puking poison, bile, and force it into melee combat. Deep in the guts. Slobbers are exposed while vomiting. Hit them from behind to drain stability faster. To putrefied slobbers. First Blood. A putrefied slobber vomits huge, sticky bile blobs. Bile blobs attach to surfaces and explode when a victim is close. Under the skin. Putrefied slobbers are immune to bleed damage. They are weak to sharp and shock damage. Slice to the bone. Hit slobbers while they are exposed from a mist grapple to drain more stability. Deep in the guts. For some real Slayer-style points, shoot a putrefied slobber's bile blob in midair to blow it up and damage nearby zombies. Move to Firestorm Slobbers. First Blood. A Firestorm Slobber has mutated to vomit a flaming torrent of organic napalm, the haze of napith, and caramelized human flesh will sting your eyes. Under the skin. Firestorm slobbers resist blunt and projectile damage. They are immune to fire but are weak to sharp shock and bleed damage. Slice to the bone. Dodge or use cover to avoid damage from a slobber's vomit attack. Lure them out of their pool of vomit to hit them in relative safety. Deep in the guts. Fully deplete a slobber's sustainability and it will fall to its knees, helpless and vulnerable. Moving to Butchers, but just before we start, I tried to record this once and I was trying to figure out why it wasn't working, and I realized I had my microphone off. Anyway, moving to Butchers. First Blood. The Butcher feeds on corpses to regrow its own body. If you don't finish it off quickly, it will run away, find a corpse, and regenerate with fighting speed. Under the skin, butchers resist blunt, fire, and bleed damage, and their blade arms are immune to all damage. Slice to the bone. Butchers can block projectile attacks with their blade arms, preventing loss of health or stability. Deep in the guts. Pull off a perfect dodge or block on a butcher's melee attacks, and it will briefly be exposed so that your follow-up attacks will drain more stability. Pardon me. Now we move to our second last Apex variant, Vicious Butchers. First Blood. The Vicious Butcher is hyper-aggressive and can cause bleed damage with the sharp, deep rifts embedded in its body. Under the skin. The Vicious Butcher is resistant to blunt and fire damage and immune to bleed damage. It can get aggressive after suffering attacks. Slice to the bone. The Vicious Butcher will nourish itself on the chunks of your flesh that its spiky body rips away, regenerating its own body. Deep in the guts. Dodge, then strike a butcher when its blades are stuck in the ground to smack it with some seriously increased stability damage. Alright, so now we move to the last of the Apex variants, the Mutators. First Blood. Mutators blend into the horde looking like walkers or shamblers. Loud noises will trigger their transformation easily. Under the skin. Mutators' wrapped physiology is resistant to projectile and explosive damage. Slice to the bone. A mutator can eject a salvo of barded bone darts from its ruptured chest cavity. These projectiles cause bleed damage deep in the guts. The mutator's ruptured chest cavity bristles with rib-like teeth. Losing a grapple contest with one means certain death.